Prime Minister Narendra Modi is already on Israeli soil, marking a high-stakes visit that puts focus on India's growing strategic weight in West Asia. All eyes are now on his landmark address to the Knesset, a movement loaded with diplomatic symbolism and strategic intent. As the political optics play out, the economic subtext is equally significant. India is pushing for deeper market access for its pharmaceutical and IT sector, expanded agri-tech export, duty cuts on textiles and stronger startup collaboration, while both sides look to build resilient supply chains in an increasingly uncertain global economy. Defense cooperation remains the centerpiece of this visit. Negotiations are underway for 6 mid-air refueling aircraft through a Boeing 767 conversion project involving HAL and an Israeli government PSU. Valued at nearly rupees 8,000 crore, the deal is critical for boosting Indian Air Force capabilities and is expected to be sealed by the end of 2026. Beyond hardware, India's expectations are strategic. New Delhi is seeking force multiplier technologies, long-range strike capabilities, ISR and drone dominance, faster defense acquisition and greater localization in manufacturing, aimed squarely at securing decisive edge in a contested regional security environment. This partnership has been in making for decades. The ties were normalized in 1992 under PV Narasimha Rao, followed by early UAV acquisitions, Israel's critical support during the Kargil conflict, and the co-development of the Barak 8 missile system and the elevation of ties to a strategic partnership in 2017. The expected tanker deal in 2026 could well mark the next major milestone in this steadily deepening relationship. And let me remind you, in 2003, Ariel Sharon visited India when Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the Prime Minister. That is also another important milestone when Sharon was in India. Now, on this visit, which is taking place, I am joined by Anand Bernstein, President Israel Asia Chamber of Commerce. He joins me live from Jerusalem. Thank you so much, sir. I'm joined by Yanki Faber, Senior Journalist, the Orthodox Community of Israel, and Ambassador Prabhu Dayal. Thank you, all of you. I'll start with Ambassador Prabhu Dayal first, sir. The significance of this short but very important visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, sir.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on your show. You know, this visit is highly significant because it is Prime Minister's second visit to Israel following his historic 2017 trip, which was in fact the first visit by an Indian Prime Minister to Israel. And the visit is viewed by both nations as a milestone in the India-Israel strategic partnership, emphasizing mutual trust and innovation. Let me mention that strategic bilateral talks will be the main focus of the visit, which is very important for both sides. Discussions will focus on defense, artificial intelligence, quantum computing, technology, and trade. Now, both nations are expected to sign a memorandum of understanding on security cooperation. Frankly, defense remains a major economic driver, with Israel becoming India's second largest weapons supplier in 2026 through deals worth over $8.5 billion. A major focus will be on joint development of advanced military systems, including anti-ballistic missile shields, laser-based defense systems, and drones. Now, discussions are also expected to focus on developing long-range standoff missiles and incorporating Iron Dome-style technologies into India's indigenous Sudarshan Chakra air defense program. Now, Israel has reportedly agreed to share high-end technologies previously unavailable to India, including high-tech laser defense systems and anti-ballistic missile technologies. Let me also mention that economic ties will also be an important focus of the visit. Both nations aim to expand bilateral trade, which stood at approximately $3.7 billion in the financial year 24-25. And following the signing of the bilateral investment treaty last year, This visit by Prime Minister Modi may pave the way for a full-fledged free trade agreement to further integrate their economies. Let me mention one last point. The itinerary includes a joint innovation event in Jerusalem focused on high-tech collaboration. Now, Prime Minister Netanyahu said that they will focus on emerging technologies that are active present day realities, specifically naming artificial intelligence and quantum computing. So, these are some of the high points relating to the structure and the agenda of the visit. Of course, the Prime Minister will address the Indian community, and the Indian community in Israel consists of approximately 85,000 Jews of Indian origin and also about 20,000 Indian nationals, mainly caregivers, agricultural workers, and IT professionals who live in Israel. And as you mentioned during your introductory remarks, Prime Minister is expected to address the Knesset very, very shortly, and everybody is looking forward to what he says during that address.
Okay, let me go across to Anat Bunstein, because you spoke about the free trade agreement. If I recall correctly, in early 90s, the trade between India and Israel was $200 million. The bilateral trade ties have improved, but the volume has not been substantial. What needs to be done to treble or double the volume? It's in a couple of billions of dollars, not much, despite close strategic relationship.
So I'm not settling for doubling. I want it to be tripled. And we are talking about bilateral trade of 5 billion at the moment, not including the defense deals, which are adding to the number substantially. And the free trade agreement that is under discussion yesterday, the delegation from Israel met Minister Pirsh Goel. So it seems that it's going right, and the momentum and the sentiment from both sides is to conclude the FTA. And my guess is that the FTA, once it's signed, it will very quickly double the trade. But let's take it 10 years forward, it will even triple, and we will start reaching the potential that is between Israel and India. I'm right now next to the Knesset, 200 meters away. I'm on my way to hear a Prime Minister's speech. The way to Jerusalem was quite amazing because we had flags of Israel and India alongside the way, and it was very exciting for me. As you see, I'm wearing the orange color, especially for this event. And it seems that also the Prime Minister's wife was wearing orange today. So Israel is very welcoming Prime Minister and his delegation, and it is very a festive day for all of us here.
Okay. Mr. Faber, do you feel that the de-hyphenation between Israel and Palestine is complete?
Well, you know, it's very complicated to say. I really hope that there will be peace one day between Israel and Palestine. Depends which Palestine, you know, if it's the West Bank or it's Gaza. At the moment, nobody in Israel, even the people who believed in peace in the last 20 years, nobody really believes that there is going to be something good with the situation in Gaza. Just because Hamas doesn't want to, give up his weapon. If they would give up their weapon, there would be peace a long time ago. No, we don't. Not big hope about peace with the Palestinian.
Absolutely. But the second question which I have for you is that when we talk about bilateral relationship between both the countries, it's defense, it's strategic, but there's also been exponential growth in civil areas. I mean, so not many people talk about it. For example, agriculture. 2017, when I was in Israel, when I covered the first time when the Prime Minister was there, we were all taken to the Agricultural Institute there. So there is a lot of people-to-people contact that is already taking place between Israel and India. People don't talk about it because they get limited to missiles or they get limited to, the war systems. But there is a lot of people-to-people cooperation. There is a lot of civil area cooperation which does not get talked about between India and Israel. Your comments?
Well, I read the news in Israel, every news that was possible that could. The right-wing media, the left-wing media, everybody loves India. And it's like, Prime Minister Modi is like a consensus in Israel. Everybody is happy to see him. especially in this, complicated times that Israel is going through. And even the people, who usually have what to say about everything, this time everybody really welcomes Prime Minister Modi, and he's going to speak in the Knesset very, very soon in the Israeli parliament. Well, there is some, Israeli politics issues. Some people from the opposition, they don't want to join because they're very upset with Netanyahu, and also they're very upset with the head of the Knesset that he didn't invite the judge, the Supreme Court judge, the head of the Supreme Court in Israel. So they're trying, but they still have talks. I really hope that they will put on side what they have against to Netanyahu, and they will join Prime Minister Modi's speech. It doesn't matter my opinion or anybody else's opinion. I think that when someone big country like India is, like the Prime Minister of such a big country is coming to Israel, I think everything must stay on side and join Modi's speech. Everybody's waiting to hear. Seriously, I've never, besides Donald Trump, people in Israel are interested with the India issue, especially about, I don't know if they talk too much about the, the security business that they're going to sign, buy weapons. It's not the weapon. It's when someone big like Modi comes, a country with 1.6 billion people, it's big. Israel is like a village in India. How many people live in Israel? 10 million, 9 million. So it's really amazing. And I hope I will watch his speech. I'm really waiting.
Okay, I'm very happy that Ambassador Dayal is with me. Ambassador Dayal, it's not as if Israel was outside of the imagination of the Indian politicians in 50s, 60s, 70s and 80s. But India didn't invest that much in those 4 decades, and then came the breakthrough in 1991. I would really want you to tell our young viewers how that breakthrough came about, why that breakthrough came about in 1991, to give that perspective to our younger viewers who are watching this program.
It is interesting that in 1991, when this breakthrough came about, I was posted as Deputy Ambassador in Iran. And you cannot imagine the sort of disappointment that was there in the Iranian ruling clergy about India's decision to establish diplomatic relations with Israel. Of course, we had a difficult time explaining to the Iranian Foreign Office. We pointed out that we have long-standing ties with Israel. We pointed out that India was amongst the first countries that had established a relationship, a working relationship with Israel, and we have only formalized it. And frankly, this was quite delayed. We should have formalized a diplomatic recognition and also the establishment of diplomatic ties much, much earlier. But as they say, better late than never. And since we established diplomatic ties, the relationship has been fast-tracked. We are very close partners. We have very close views on a number of global situations. Of course, during this visit, there has been the talk of a hexagonal alliance. Now, whether India joins that or not is a different matter, but Prime Minister Netanyahu has promoted it as something which is necessary in the context of security, particularly against some of the radical Islamic forces. Now, India doesn't believe in strategic military alliances. It wants, of course, economic cooperation. Even the Quad is not a military alliance. It is only a security dialogue. India tries to develop relationships without having military alliances. So for that reason, it might be a little bit of a difficult situation in the sense that Prime Minister Netanyahu wants this hexagonal alliance, and he has already promoted it, while because of our foreign policy constraints, we may not find it possible. But nonetheless, the relationship has been growing from strength to strength, and it will continue to do so.
I think you have given me another talking point. Anat, tell me, from the Israeli perspective, how has been the cooperation between two countries in context of counter-terrorism, as Ambassador was speaking about?
We face the same challenges. India is facing terror coming from Pakistan. We face terror coming from all over, sponsored by Iran, sponsored by Qatar. And this is our daily life. So I'm sure that counterterrorism will be on the table between Mr. Modi and Mr. Netanyahu. It's not the first time that they talk about it. A collaboration in counterterrorism goes a long way. It goes even back to 26/11 in the Mumbai attacks, where Israeli forces came to India, and together they worked on intelligence and other means to work against terrorism in India. So unfortunately, we have a lot of experience in terrorism, and we are, I wouldn't say happy, but we would, of course, share this experience. And I'm sure that this is just one of the collaborations that we're going to see coming out of this short visit. The newspaper, as you just showed in the background,
Yes.
is saying welcome back and welcome Mr. Modi, and very, very positive and happy about the visit. And I'll have to drop now because I
Okay.
have to walk to the Knesset and see for my own eyes how Mr. Modi is welcomed. And I really look forward to hearing him. I'll be happy to talk to you tomorrow and tell you about this event.
Well,
I have to
I'll hold
drop
on to
now.
your promise that you'll be on my show tomorrow. I'll hold on to that promise. But, I have one more question. I have one more question for Yanki. Thank you so much, Anat, for joining me. I know you have to, walk to the Knesset and there'll be security. What about the Middle Eastern corridor? There were a lot of there were a lot of big plans, Yanki, but Mr. Faber, but nothing much has happened out of it because of the instability in West Asia. And this was touted as a big project.
Again, sorry, I didn't hear. What was the question?
What about the Middle Eastern Economic Corridor? There have been a lot of projects which Benjamin Netanyahu spoke about. Prime Minister was very excited, but not much has become of it because of the crisis in West Asia.
Many plans that Israel have made in the last, before 7th of October, it didn't happen because of the war. Many plans that Netanyahu has made with other countries around Israel, a lot of things have been done under the table, that I can tell you. And I read in many places, in some was off the record, that I don't know exactly what Israel is doing with India when it comes to security issues, but I can tell you that Israel helped India when India was fighting Pakistan in different ways. Not everything was published on the news. A lot of things have been done under the table because everything is so sensitive. And we can see that the Prime Minister Modi is doing a little bit changes, and now he's coming to Israel, so he's showing it in front of everybody. And I just got a message from one of the news agents that Israel is going to sign today with Netanyahu is going to sign with Prime Minister Modi many agreements about many different things, including security issues, and it looks much better than before.
Okay, Ambassador, before I close the show, you were saying that India's foreign policy does not pursue military alliances. It pursues close strategic relationship based on trade and mutual interest. So in this case, and the position India has been taken in context of Gaza and other countries, where do you locate this short but a very important trip of Prime Minister Modi?
Well, this visit is very important in terms of our bilateral relationship. And I highlighted various aspects which are of great importance to us. The defense aspect, the economic and trade aspect, plus, of course, the new technologies and artificial intelligence. Now, let me mention that India is the world's biggest importer of defense equipment. Israel is one of the best manufacturers of high-tech defense equipment. That is why Israel has become the second largest supplier of top quality, high-grade defense equipment to us. Now, unlike many countries like the United States, which are very reluctant to share technology, Israel has been much more forthcoming. And that is why the two countries are going to move towards joint manufacture. That is now the issue which is being discussed. Joint manufacturing of high-tech defense-related equipment between the two countries and here in India. So this is a step which will boost the defense relationship even further. Let's see what is the progress that is going to take place in this regard. But nonetheless, the possibilities are that the relationship will grow particularly strongly in the defense area. Now, let me just quickly answer the question which you had asked the other panelists from Israel about the Middle East Economic Corridor.
Yes.
Now, you're right in saying that progress is not taking place because of the security situation in the Middle East, particularly the conflict between Israel and
Yes.
the Hamas, because that has disturbed the entire area. And unless there is an end to that conflict, unless the security situation normalizes, I don't see any progress taking place on the Middle East Economic Corridor, because from India, it will through the Arabian Sea reach the UAE, then go to Saudi Arabia, cross into Jordan, and then it will be crossing into Israel. But there is a conflict-related situation there. So since the security situation is pretty serious, the progress on the corridor is not taking place. But hopefully someday things will normalize, and then this project will come into fruition.
Thank you.